Good.
Continue, Rajni.
Welcome to Empathy Unites Us. Today, we gather to bridge divides and foster understanding. Let's embark on a journey of compassion, kindness, and unity, recognizing our shared humanity. Together, we will explore the transformative power of empathy to create a more harmonious world. Here I am, Rajni Shah from Assam, the northeast part of Guwahati. I am the Deputy Director of Inspiring Indian Women from the Northeast India. So before we start, I want to share all my panelists, their names, and a little introduction about them. So we have with us Colonel Dr. Ramesh Chandra Khatri. He is a participant in the three national war, designer of Laungewala in 1971. He was a tank commander. He drove Pakistani tank from the war and brought it to Bharat. We have Mr. Nilesh Joshi. His remarkable journey spans 52 years, from humble beginning as a waiter to becoming a visionary entrepreneur. With integrity, perseverance, and innovation, he built successful businesses globally. Now retired, Nilesh dedicates himself to spiritual growth, producing devotional music, and serving humanity with unwavering commitment. Welcome, sir.
Jai Shri Krishna to all.
Next, we have Sweta, ma'am. Sweta has been active in UK-based NGO promoting India-UK's relations and currently serves as the National Coordinator of Jammu Kashmir Study Centre, a think tank focused on Jammu and Kashmir. She has organized events, webinars, and UK Parliament sessions to raise awareness and share balanced perspectives on the region. She also writes articles on key issues aiming to contribute positively to society. Before we start, I would like Rashmi ma'am to say a few words about IIW.
Thank you, Rajni. There's nothing much to say right away, right now, because all of us, all our eyes are on what's happening in our neighborhood, the front, and we all are concerned, and we all pray for, I should say, justice. And I think a lot of things have happened. And let's hear from our distinguished panelists about what they have to say. Thank you so much, Rajni.
So we have the senior most panelist, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Khatri, sir. I would like to start from him. As we are talking about empathy, now we are seeing what's going on across the world, and I think people are losing empathy. And so all chaos and confusions are going on. So, sir, I would like to hear from you. How can empathy help bridges that divides between communities? If you can highlight.
You see, empathy will only come when you know the other person. First, if you have the knowledge of other person, their conditions, their other things, whatever is affecting them, then you have to work on the same line to see that the other person is more comfortable with you. Once you talk to the person, see the condition directly, you can talk to the person. But when I say person means it can be even a community or anything. So you have to get into that and get into the shoes of that person or the community. And thereafter, once you feel the things, and immediately you will start realizing that what else can be done to improve so that your closeness, you don't show your closeness, but your feelings and their feeling, they match almost together. If that happens, so empathy will be, but you can be more empathetic to other person or other community. So knowledge of the other community, their problems, their issues, and whatever other things they are suffering from, or they are lacking. So we have to improve those to help them, so that they also will feel thereafter that we are having some respect, some love, some sharing with them. So empathy will be there. If you don't know, or if you don't make efforts, thereafter the empathy can never be there, because you have to feel yourself, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the other person, other community, or then only you can. So that imagination of your being in the same condition, same boat. So if you feel that way, then you will be able to understand the other problems of the other persons or communities' issues, and you can then take actions to improve your improve your understanding of them, and they can understand you a little better when they see you being more concerned about them, or concerned about their problems.
Well said, sir. But do you think that unemployment and lack of education has created a problem in people feeling empathy for others?
Uh, See, lack of knowledge, lack of education, yes, it can be. But unemployment probably shall not. Because when there are two friends, one is very rich, one is very poor, but they become friends. And one person feels some pain, other person feels the same pain. So the unemployment aspect probably, it is not that effective, or that, you know, what, this, the poverty line, which is not same. So there it will be a problem. Unemployment should not make a difference.
Thank you, sir. We'll come back to you again. Nilesh, sir, I want to ask you that how can we counteract the spread of misinformation that fuels conflict?
Thank you for inviting me here. I'm not expert as the Captain Khatri, but I will try my best to give the answer. First of all, my tribute to all martyrs who died in Kashmir terrorist attack. Now, Rajni, can you repeat the question for me, please, if you don't mind?
Yes, sure. How can we counteract the spread of misinformation that fuels conflict? We can see that people are spreading so many messages nowadays in WhatsApp, in Facebook, and wherever, in all the social media platforms. And do you think that misinformation can fuel the conflict?
Yes. Counteracting the misinformation is a very tough task. We have to be very vigilant. A few days back, I made a video that if people spread the rumors, how should we go about it, right? So first of all, we should go for the fact finding. What is the real fact? What is the real story? Like few days back, Hindu newspaper spread the rumor that one of the India's aeroplane was shot dead by Pakistanis, right? Yesterday they apologized, but we wrote to them that apology is not enough. You have to really be punished, right? So like this, whatever the misinformation is coming into the media or by the people, we have to counteract with the facts. How can we do that? We have to go into the deep of that rumor. What is the rumor and how we can solve that, right? So this is my way of counteracting the rumors and wrong information.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll come back to you again. Sweta ma'am, I want to ask you, what role does education play in promoting peace and understanding?
Thank you, Rajni, and namaste to everyone again. And it's an honor to share my thoughts here at this forum with such eminent personalities. So thank you for letting me put my thoughts across here. So I believe that education plays a critical role, especially in shaping how we understand regions like Jammu and Kashmir. And I say this as someone leading the efforts of the Jammu Kashmir Study Center in the UK. Unfortunately, the Jammu and Kashmir narrative, in the UK is often devoid of facts. It's dominated by negative propaganda, and like how Nilesh mentioned, there is widespread misinformation about the region, and must I say, deeply entrenched. So our center is committed to correcting that. We study the region's history, geography, political developments, and we try and disseminate that information through various formats to the diaspora, parliamentarians, media, and so on. Now, the recent barbaric terrorist attack in Kashmir, where 26 innocent terrorists were, brutally murdered, and they were targeted solely because of their religious identity. So obviously, this was not just a terror attack; it was a chilling act of religious hatred. So this information needs to be conveyed, and unfortunately, isn't reflected much in media houses. Um, so when many British Indians they came out to protest in the UK shortly after the incident, it was an expression of deep sorrow and a need to raise awareness because these horrifying facts must be conveyed clearly. They must be conveyed responsibly to the right authorities, to the international communities, to the media, to the British society, because what happened definitely caused a lot of immense grief and anguish to the Indian diaspora. They wanted the world to understand the ideology behind such attacks, which is rooted in radical extremism, which has been nurtured for decades through cross-border support. It has had been a systematic effort to destabilize peace in the region. And this came at a time when Jammu and Kashmir was witnessing real progress. In 2024, we saw over 3.5 million tourists who had visited the region. The investment projects they had surpassed 3 billion pounds in financial year 2025. Democratic processes were flourishing, but because there is enough is not spoken about these things. This positive transformation is something many in the UK, especially the British public, have heard very little about. And terrorism basically, aims precisely to derail such progress. So it is our duty as global citizens to ensure that such ideologies are exposed. And we should not just stop at protest. There must be a continuous, diligent effort, especially during critical times like this, because when India has responded with in a measured manner, and it has attacked the terrorist camps in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied territories. So what was the objective of those attacks? Those needs to be conveyed very succinctly as well. Um, because the global narrative should reflect the truth of India's position and intent. And I would say that in this context, social media is a powerful tool, and we must use it responsibly to share these kind of fact-based information. We have seen attempts from the other side, like how Nilesh mentioned, that they were spreading misinformation using fake, outdated videos. So they need to be countered. And like they say, a false narrative can only be defeated by a stronger, truthful one. And I would again say that our efforts must not end once the emotional impact of this incident fades, because in the UK, the machinery of lies and propaganda does not rest, and neither should we. Because this misinformed narrative isn't limited to the streets, it extends into academia, politics, parliament, media. In fact, every month there is an event in the UK Parliament on Jammu and Kashmir where they try to present a one-sided view of the region. And that is why our response must be sustained, strategic, and relentless. Because, like I said, a narrative can only be countered by a stronger narrative. Apathy will not help, silence will not serve. Only educating people will. And more importantly, we should also educate ourselves with facts and figures so that we can spread light when there is confusion, and we can give clarity when there is misinformation. Because when we are empowered, we become the change makers. And if I can give an example, that this effort must also extend to our elected representatives, because the MPs in the United Kingdom are generally approachable. And we should actively use our democratic rights to engage with them, educate them, and then share our perspective. For instance, my member of parliament, she had previously shown a well-meaning intent regarding the region. In a 2019 interview, she had talked about fostering peace and unity in the region, initiatives like Cricket for Peace. But despite the goodwill, she supported an early day motion, which, following the elections in Jammu and Kashmir, a motion that was criticizing the move rather than appreciating the democratic process. So this basically shows that she was not well informed. So, following this incident, I had written an email to her and she responded and she's ready to engage. So, there has to be such sustained efforts of educating people, which will, help us in presenting a well-informed narrative about the region, a well-informed picture about the region. Otherwise, we are allowing a vacuum to exist, which gets filled with misinformation, which gets filled with narratives that do not promote peace or an accurate understanding of ground realities. Lastly, I would just say that organizations like ourselves, Jammu Kashmir Study Center, that is Friends of India Society International in the UK, we are here in the forefront. We're actively engaging in research. We're doing events, webinars to promote an understanding of this region. So I would encourage you all to follow our work, to join our initiatives, to reach out with more questions and ideas, because your support matters. And then together as a community, we can bring in the education and awareness that is needed to shape a more informed narrative. Thank you.
Beautifully explained, ma'am. We'll come back to you again because we want to hear more from you. Now I'm again going back to Ramesh Khatri, sir. Since you have been a part of the three wars, the biggest history you can say. So, sir, I want to ask you that how can global initiatives promote peace and understanding across borders? Because you have seen the border tensions from very near. So, I think you would be the perfect person to explain us that how can global initiatives promote peace and understanding across borders?
Well, you see, when you are there at the border, because so all soldiers don't be at the border at the same time. You have your own duty, you're spread over. Different kind of duties are there that you have to perform. You have to teach, you have to train your people, you have to, educate the juniors, and you may be different place, you have to do some paperwork, you're doing it. So that these kind of things, what you're saying is the people are at the border. Once you are at the border, I'll take it a little further again. Once you are at the border, things are not that bad. Both sides understand each other. They see each other daily, and that kind of situation is created. I'll give you my own example of 1965. We were in war. We were almost at Ichugal Canal, up to which we went there that time. And the ceasefire was at about 3:30 on 23rd September, or 24th September maybe, 3:30 in the morning. But the bullets firing, other things stopped. It took another about 1 hour, 4:30. There was all calm, quiet. Now I am at the moment, I was the leading most, and the enemy was just few yards away from me. I got ready and I walked into the enemy position, if you call it now enemy, but it was at that time. I went and met the people there, and nobody, because there was a understanding somebody has come from the other side, and I said I want to meet a person who belongs to Dera Ismail Khan. That is, my hometown. So they tried to, find out who's the person, because who can come, and I said I'll talk to him in my own language and find out about the house and all that where I was born. And that is the kind of thing which has happened in war. If they could have done anything to me, they could have, because I was in their area. There were minefields all around, and I was alone, nobody else. Of course, I had taken some precautions. That was, I am from cavalry, armored corps, tanks. So I put one tank on duty, and I told them that if some mischief takes place, fire armored piercing round. It is a solid round, which doesn't bust. So it only hits. It is basically meant to kill the enemy tank to tank, because there is about 2 to 3 feet thickness of the steel which is there. So told them, fire with all your weapons, machine guns, few yards to my right. And in that firing, there will be a confusion. So I'll be able to run out and come this side. And another precaution was there that I went through the vehicle lane. In the minefield, you leave certain lanes whereby the people can move about, your own people or your own vehicles. That is known to you. I was there for 3 days, 4 days we were facing each other. So I exactly knew where these lanes were. So I was standing, when I met them, I entered through the lane, safe lane, met them. And then I ensured that I am not going away, farther away from the lane, so that in case I have to run back, so I have this one. Another precaution was there because there was about the different ranks of the people were there. Somebody comes behind, if 2, 3 people come behind from my rear, and they can hold me, and then I will not be able to run away. So those precautions, of course, were taken. I met their officers. I met the JCUs. What you see is the inspectors, like inspectors and all that, and I met the Jawans, and but they were waiting. And this guy, while coming, the Pakistani soldier who's coming to meet me, he, in that anxiety or his eagerness to come and meet somebody, and he tripped over a mine. So there was a big blast. So we knew it. So they said, sorry, you can't meet him now. So that is the kind of scenario when you see it is, we have to create the scenario when you are at the border, there is no problem. But the problem takes place is uh, when you are not there, because you are every time you are not there. And then the propaganda, as you said earlier, that plays a big role there. And once we move to the border, we go on there. So once the war starts, then there is no goodwill, there is no sympathy, there is no empathy, there is none of those things. The only thing is that you have to kill your enemy who's in front of you. If you don't kill him, he will kill you. I have got troops from, these Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, Bauds, Jainis, everybody is there. So enemy doesn't know. You know that other side is mostly who they are, but they won't know that who are facing them. So they will fire, and nobody can stand up and say, "Oh, I belong to your religion," and don't fire at me. It can't happen because the tank has a crew of 3, 4, or 5. They are inside. So you have to really tackle at that time how the thing is. So you can basically, it can happen is more delegations of both sides in scenarios where it is amicable scenario. Now, like today, you could see, there are very restricted kind of communication or contact between the nations, between the forces, and so that it takes a little bit of time where you have to understand others. I've been to Pakistan in January, January 2000 probably. I was there for 12, 13 days. I moved about. Of course, I had a security of one inspector and 5 stain gun people with me every time. So I once or twice I just went out. So these chaps said, "Sir, please don't do this because something can happen." MQM was very strong at that time. Every crossroad was, till the time there was a, the policemen were there, gunmen were there to handle any situation. So there, now I moved about. There was no problem. They knew he's an Indian. They knew he's a retired colonel for the Indian Army. They knew that I had fought 3 battles for them. And, every evening I got on my visa, not to allowed to visit cantonment areas. But these people, those who came to know that I am there, soldiers, and they took me their home. We had enjoyed even though they're not allowed to drink, we enjoyed drinks together. We had food with them. Everything was there. So that is because of the contact. If this contact is increased between the forces, then probably what you're saying is a possibility it can happen. Otherwise, it is really, very difficult because the other side you are just saying, like, you know, they are enemy, they are enemy, enemy. They say, tell us enemy, enemy. So you find it becomes that sits into, gets into your brain, the enemy word. So that getting closer at the border, it becomes difficult. So again, it is not at the lower level. It is at the top level that they have to manage it. They can manage it well because once the delegations go from one place to one country to another country, once the people come from there we train them. I have trained number of people from different countries in the college. Army War College. So, so then you find these people go and they feel with, closeness to you. So when they come here, we feel closeness to them. So that is where you find that it is actually, I had a project. I said that I went to Pakistan. I had a project whereby I thought we could reduce the tension between the two nations. I had a plan of taking 2 lakh children, college going children, not school going, college going children, boys and girls, take them to Pakistan, let them stay there for 10, 12 days with one family, one child, and similarly bring children from there. So that was, every month you take one train with about 1,000 children, because the college children, they are they have this, they can understand things what is happening. Now, if you take 1,000 children with you and they stay with 1,000 families in Pakistan, so what will happen is the child who has gone and stayed with a family for 10, 12 days, so their rapport will be built up with them. They will understand each other. And similarly, the people who come to our place in India from Pakistan, so they will also be staying with one family, one child for 10 days, 12 days. They will see everything. Unlike that the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan, few days ago he said, our culture is different, everything is different. You find there is just no difference. You stay there with the child will stay. He will see what is happening there. Except a small little system of praying. Otherwise, you are wearing the same kind of clothes. They are wearing the same kind of food. One may be more vegetarian, another may be lesser vegetarian and more non-vegetarian. And otherwise, the same language, same love, same everything. So what will happen is, once 2 lakh children, it would have been over about 15 years' time. But then people had, the security worries. I said that don't worry, that arrangements I had already made. And so when the child from Pakistan comes to India, after 10, 12 days, because every Indian family will put the child on their head, on their shoulders, on their eyes. They'll, whatever maximum love and affection they can endow on the child, it will be done. Similarly, when our child goes to the Pakistan family, they would have done the same best to their ability to keep the child as well. Then they would have seen the difference. So this I would have told them initially before they go. Yes. That find out the differences. And these are the children who would become administrators. They will go to the armed forces. They will be the editors of the, they will be the press reporters, channel reporter. Channels were not there at that time so much. So everything is, so the Indian children will be, ambassadors of Pakistan in India. Similarly, Pakistani children who stayed here, they will be the ambassadors of India in Pakistan, in their country. You see? And then another thing is there, the children, both sides, they will interact more with each other. Once they interact in those 10, 12 days, they would be, they'll transact in letters, email. On that time, mobile was, it has just been introduced. So the contact would have increased, and that the understanding each one will be much better. But and I tried my level best to get visas from both sides on payment, but it was not successful. Anyway, so the question is how how you make your society or make your the outfit on your side and similarly on the other side. So that will really, make the things much better. That's what my personal feeling. And politicians and the people at a high level, what they understand, I do not know. Because in that way, I'll give you, I went to a few restaurants there and nobody charged anything from me. They knew he's an Indian chap because police was with me throughout. And, one chap, shopkeeper, I said, kindly give me one coin of yours of each denomination so that I take it back and show it to my children. That chap just, put his hands like this in that box, money box, took out the coins, and he gave it to me. Sir, give it to, my children there. He says, my children there. So he didn't say कि अपने बच्चों को दे दो, फिर मेरे बच्चों को वहाँ देना. So that kind of a thing happens only when you increase the contact. If you increase the contact, things will change. And again, there always be uh, hardliners. Those hardliners have to be tackled again in different way. So that actions have to be taken. How it happens, that I tried my level best, but I couldn't do it. So other people will do it. Time will come. Things will improve. I'm very positive about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You explained very well. And yes, it's we have to do everything together. And when we are together, we can make the impossible possible. So
Possible.
thank you
Yes.
so much for explaining so well. Now I'm coming back to Nilesh, sir. Sir, I have a question for you. What do you think? What is the impact of social media on promoting or hindering peace? As you are running your own uh, YouTube channel, Sanatan Dharm. So it's a beautiful channel, and so many things we can learn from your channel. So, what you think that what is the impact of social media on promoting or hindering peace?
Thank you, Rajni. Thank you very much for asking the question and giving me the time. Social media is a wonderful tool, and we are blessed with the technology, internet, and artificial intelligence. Now, the role of social media on promoting peace: give a right information to the right people. Right information to the wrong people will not work. So, right information to the right people who really matters. Right? And the fact remains fact always. There are so many social media, they polarize. The wrong information, divisive algorithm, like we have a Barkha Dutt, Rajdeep Sardesai, They all the time, they don't find anything good with the Indian government or whatever the Indian government is doing. So they always spread the misinformation. So they are using the social media to spread the wrong information. But people like you, me, Captain Mehta, Sweta Mohanty, and Rashmi ji, we try our best to give people the right information, and we try to promote the peace and harmony among the community. Like Captain Ramesh Bhai said that he went to Pakistan and his idea was wonderful. But, those ideas work with the good people. Like vegetarian cow is saying to the lion that I'm a vegetarian. Cow is a vegetarian, but lion is not. So what matters to lion? That you are a vegetarian. Prithviraj Chauhan was very good. He forgave Muhammad Ghori 14 times. But Muhammad Ghori did not give him one chance. So, like to use the social media in a right way to promote the right information. Then there are violence. So why the violence happens? Because most of the time politicians, they have a vested interest, and political parties, they do. So we have to do our role. And social media, you use the WhatsApp, you use the Facebook, you use the Instagram, you use a YouTube channel to give the right information to the people. Do your best. Like your IIW is trying the best to promote the harmony among the women. They don't discriminate that who is Indian and who is British and who is Pakistani. They give chance to every woman. Here in my Sanatan Secretary, I'm a little bit hard. So, I always present the fact which is good for Bharat Mata and Sanatan Dharma and Bharati people. But yes, I do use a lot of social media. I produce the music, but my music is mainly for Bharat Mata and Sanatan Dharma. So this is the role of the social media to promote the peace by many ways. This is one of the ways. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we are coming to Shweta ma'am. I have a question for you. Actually, we are heading ahead of the time. So quickly, we'll wind up with a question. What steps can government or United Nations take to foster a culture of peace and empathy?
We don't get to hear such things. So, I really thank him for sharing his experiences here. So because I live here in the UK, so as living in the UK, the perspectives I share are grounded in the realities and developments that I witness here. So in terms of your question, so I feel that first and foremost, there must be a clear recognition and an equivocal condemnation of any terrorist acts, right? So because such a stance sends a strong message that violence and hatred, they are a menace to humanity, and they should be condemned as it is. And it's equally important at the same time to acknowledge the true victims of terrorism and to identify the roots of the ideology that fuels such violence, be it the source of funding, the cross-border support, the ideological backing, and then the UN response or the government responses consequently should include official statements, the diplomatic engagements, or even foreign aid, that must reflect this understanding because that does send a very strong message. Another critical issue that I feel must be addressed is how in the UK, foreign-driven narratives and misinformation, they are increasingly, finding space within the British parliamentary discourse. So again, Jammu and Kashmir is a striking example where certain politicians, they are often influenced by certain agendas or vested interest. They raise the issue in debates. Now, these interventions, they are most often based on distorted information. They do not represent the ground realities. Um, but what they also do is they divert valuable parliamentary, time and attention from matters which actually affect the UK and affect the people living here in the UK. So such efforts must be firmly discouraged, as again, they spread misinformation, they promote division, they undermine peace, understanding, and any opportunity for any constructive dialogue. Okay. Now, in this context, I would just say that the protests that the British Indians and the Hindus, they did following the terrorist attack, that was not out of some political, they were not political provocations. They were just deeply emotional expressions of grief and solidarity. They just wanted to mourn the victims. The intention was to shed light on the long-standing, systemic violence that India, especially Jammu Kashmir, has endured due to terrorism. This was their only, honest intention. Now, it is also important to recognize that, British Indians, having lived in the UK for generations, they are hardworking, they are law-abiding community, they've contributed significantly to the economy. So they rarely bring issues from their country of origin into British public discourse. So it's important to recognize that, because they have integrated so well into the British society. They have embraced its values, they are contributing to its progress. So when they do take to the streets, it is not out of political opportunism, but from a place of genuine pain and a desire to help the world see the truth. Now, I would just again conclude by emphasizing that maybe the government and the UN, they can implement stronger oversight into hate speech and the propaganda that creates a menace again to the society. So we do value freedom of speech. It is a cornerstone of any democratic society, but it should not be misused as a shield to spread hate or glorify terrorism. So maybe we could have some better enforcement to stop misinformation and these harmful ideologies, which in turn will protect public safety and promote a more peaceful and respectful society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have with us Rakesh Khatri ji. Sir, would you like to say something?
I can't see Rakesh Khatri online because I think he has dropped.
He said he's joining. Let him join. I thought he's there, but now I can see he's not there. I think he will join. So you can wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Let him join.
Meanwhile, we can still have some discussions like, I just heard there's been attack in, Jammu, which is very heartbreaking. I thought that, I think we do not want to escalate, but looks like it's not happening. Also, we just, Rajasthan is going blackout. Yeah, Rakesh is here.
Sir, so we are talking about empathy tonight, and Ramesh Khatri sir and Nilesh Joshi sir and Sweta ma'am has explained beautifully about the empathy and global relation. So sir, would you like to say something? Would you like to add something? Rakesh sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah, sorry, Rajni, you're asking me, right?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, sorry, all the dignitaries present here. I'm really sorry I couldn't join earlier. I had some prior commitments and then I was driving back. So, first of all, would like to thank Rashmi ji and yourself to invite me for this discussion. And I also see some senior dignitaries, one of them being my father, Colonel Khatri, there. And though I was listening to what he said and what Nilesh sir said, so I would just say good experience from all round, from both of them. But yeah, coming to your point of this, uh, basically we need to understand what is life. Every time I say, whether it was last when I gave an interview on Sushant, what is there? Everything is running around life. But what we mean for life, things which are going right now is not good for anybody. Nobody's feeling happy. It's not being an Indian or Pakistani. It's being a human. anywhere in the world is not feeling nice to whatever happened. Why it happened? There are certain political, there might be certain things, conspiracies or something, behind that.